Okay. Oh, I see it.
Hey, hey, hey. We are
Hi.
live this Saturday evening at 7:32 p.m. And we have the Urban Love Goddess on with us, aka Angela. I have known Angela. Gosh, Angela, how long have we known each other?
Oh wow. Since maybe 2004, maybe?
Has it been that long?
Yeah, because my daughter, she was in elementary.
Mm,
She's about to be 21.
I can't even believe it. You sent me that picture and I was like, holy smokes. Who is that girl? Beautiful girl, by the way. Beautiful girl.
Thanks.
Yes, beautiful girl. But man, I could not believe that that much time has went by for her because I remember as just you taking her to different programs at school and and her going and just growing up and just that whole transition of her becoming and blossoming into a young woman, and now to see her, wow, she's man, you did a good job.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah, you did a
appreciate
good
that.
job. Absolutely. Well, I'm really excited to have you come on and have a chat, Miss Urban Love Goddess. You're looking just so magnificent.
With my goddess crown
I see. I
connected and aligning with the energies.
I love it. That's very important too. I titled this Love Yourself, and the reason I titled it Love Yourself is because as long as I've known you, um, what has been your main theme literally every time?
That's
Girl, you
right. You
gotta
have to
love
love
yourself.
yourself. Yes.
Girl, at the end of
That's
the day,
all
you
that
got to love
matters. Because when you love yourself, you can love others.
exactly. Exactly. So that's one of the legacies that I feel that you are leaving a footprint of that message of loving yourself. So that's why I titled that. It just came to me to title that for you, Love Yourself, because when I think of you, Angela, Urban Love Goddess, I think about loving yourself. So,
Yes, I'm touched by that. I'm glad that you recognize that and you are aware and you know about me.
mhm. Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, Angela. So if I pause just a little bit, it's because I'm waiting. I don't want to interrupt anything that you're saying because there's a little bit of delay on your end. Okay.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that you do or what that you've done over the years that got you to this place of just such a deep level of self-love? And what are some of your practices that
Well,
you
okay, so some practices that I've done, I definitely have done a lot of reading.
do?
So I've read lots and lots of books. And then from there, you put the books aside and you actually start practicing what it is that you read. And then from there, once you go within yourself and listen to your higher self, then you just basically, it just comes natural, you know?
Mhm.
And that is being in tune with who you truly are as a human being and as a spirit being. So after that, you really don't need guides as far as books and things like that. Like you might periodically look at stuff, but for the most part, once you know how to tune in and tap in into yourself, then you don't need all the extra stuff.
But most
But for starters, it's always good to start there if that's where you need to start.
Yeah. Most, when you say, all you need to do is just to tune in and tap into your inner self, that sounds so easy and very fluent to do, right? But you have grown to that
That is
particular
correct.
space in life, right? It wasn't just like wave a little magic wand and some fairy dust, sprinkle some fairy dust, and voila, right?
No, not
You've
at
done a
all.
lot of work, a lot of work.
It's taking some crying and some being angry and mad and, you know, what they call the dark night of the soul and facing your shadow self. It's taking so much. Yeah, it's just, it's an ugly mess, but it's beautiful at the same time, because once you come out of it, it's just like, in order for you to be where you currently are, you had to go through that, because if not, then, you know, you you don't know. You know, you have no clue when you don't strip all of the stuff that's weighing you down, that's not healthy and beneficial for you. So you have to go through that in order to know. And then you do have opportunities, not opportunities, but you do have times where you kind of, I guess what people might call backslide, or you still may have a little bit of triggers within you.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to recognize those triggers, and then you have to check yourself. And then you have to question, okay, I'm triggered. Why am I triggered? What is it within me that is not healed, or that I fully haven't dealt with? Or, you know, where am I at right now to where I'm kind of, you know, just not really centered? And of course, we're not always going to be centered, you know, because we're human. So it just takes daily practice, you know. So, but you work at just vibrating at your highest potential on a daily basis. It's work. It takes work.
Yeah, it does. Now, you know, here's the thing though. It's easy for us, you know, to be in alignment with the conversation when we talk about being triggered and we talk about, you know, doing that shadow work. For those who don't have a clue, and that's okay because we were all there at one time, but can you start from the beginning in a simplified version where we can kind of give a elementary version of a here's step 1, step 2, step 3 of what that looks like, because some people don't even know what a trigger is, right? And you know, you're at work or you're in a grocery store or something, and even somebody, you know, the cart bumps you, or something as simple as that, then all of a sudden the rest of your day is chaotic and you don't know what happened. And really what had happened is you were bullied at school and no one helped you process that, right? So can we back up just a little bit and talk about like those triggers, because some people don't even know that a trigger is a trigger, so that they can then recognize that, because this conversation is what people are that's happening in their lives and they don't recognize what it is. So I want to make sure that, you know, that we're giving a clear view and a pathway for them to explore that for themselves.
So I'm going to use me for an example.
Okay.
So when I was younger, things used to occur, and sometimes, well, a lot of times, people would blame me for things that I didn't do. So I got to the point where when they would say that I did it, or, you know, whatever the situation was, then I would say, oh, blame Angie. You know what I'm saying? And they would laugh about that and get triggered, not triggered, but they would think that it was funny because they knew how I felt about that. So when you are blamed for things that you didn't do, like, it caused me to be very assertive, if not a smart aleck, or just, you know, telling people off, or, you know, whatever the case is. It's just like, I had to check people, like, come to me correct, because that's not what I did. I didn't do that, you know. So then it just caused me to just be very vocal. So then as you become an adult, when you have people who either blame you, or it can be something, you know, talking to you crazy, you know, or in a negative manner, and you like, I'm not tolerating that. So I had to learn to be nice, nasty. So it's just like, I will tell you off, but I'm going to do it as polite as I possibly can, so you know that I'm not playing with you, and that, you know, I mean what I say. So it's just like, when you have those triggers when they weren't talked about when you were younger and you weren't healed, then you take them into your adulthood, and then it mentally takes you to when you were healed.
And I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because I know you very well.
It's okay, even if you were. I am over that.
I've seen that in action in days gone by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In its rawest form, I've seen that side of you. But you know what? And I appreciate those thoughts too. When you say tell people off, you're a very loving person. So you have a unique way of communicating with people and saying it where it doesn't come across as I don't love you, I don't care about you. I mean, I have to let you know that you have that unique talent and ability that not everyone has, to where people don't even realize that you just shattered them, right? Mm-hmm. You always have had a smile on your face and kept it moving. So as you've evolved, I just want everyone to know too that it isn't as harsh as she says, because she's got a beautiful gift of being able to be assertive, but she does it in a very loving way. And her the words that you use are very beautifully structured to people so that the blow isn't as bad. Now, even though you have that gift, they still, they have to be responsible for that, because how they receive it is people don't want to see the truth. They don't, that's within ourselves, that go into that clutter closet, because then they don't, if they haven't had support, you just put this massive download on me right now, and I can't even process that the fact that somebody frowned at me, much less now you want me to go deep and do shadow work, and you're talking about triggers. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just going to check out, go watch Netflix, and find any other distraction other than the distraction for myself, that the work that it takes to move forward, for that ultimate self-love. I mean, that's what it's all about. But it's not just your run-of-the-mill, hey, let's have a cup of coffee and then move on. It's not. It's not. It's very deep, but it's very rewarding if you take the time, and you have a good support system too. I think that's very important as well. And then at some point you have to stand on your own 2 feet and trust your own intuition, because there's a lot of opinions out there. Everybody has their own opinion, and that's good. We want good feedback, but at some point, just because somebody else told you something, well, I didn't get that message. So until I do, I have to learn to trust myself too. And I think that, some people get distracted with that, because, it's a complicated, it can be complicated, but it's a beautiful thing once we kind of figure out that maze. And it's like, okay, well, that's kind of a roadblock, but it's a good roadblock. So let's go left, right? And then we go down that path for a while, maybe we travel that for 20, 30, 1,500 miles, maybe, whatever that is. And then it equates to years. And then we take another detour, but it's that pursuit of always wanting to do more for ourselves, in that pursuit of finding ourselves. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And what's interesting yet not interesting is that when I have discussions with people on, let's say, a Facebook platform, people have a tendency to take me the wrong way. And I used to find myself like just going on and on with little discussions, and they would think that I was arguing. And I'm like, no, this is just dialogue. Like, I'm not arguing with you. I can agree to disagree, but I have information that you're not aware of, and it could be vice versa. So it's just like, then it would get to the extent to where name calling was involved. And so I'll be like, I do a lot of laughing emojis because you know me, I, I'm not even taking it personal because my thing is that we all awake to our own alarm clock.
Right.
So therefore, first of all, we don't share a brain. So we're not all going to think the same. We're not going to move and do the same things in life. So it's just like, and that's okay. But a lot of people can't accept that because society has programmed us into being group thinkers. Like, this is how you should live. This is how you should think. This is what you should be doing. This is the way you should do it. And it's just like, these people in the background, the powers that be, whoever these people are, it's just like that you don't even know who they are all the time and are aware of. They're like mentally like programming you like robots because it's just like, and then you have people out here that are afraid to think for themselves. So everybody is basically just following protocol, or just what's so-called they feel is normal. And a lot of people are afraid to be themselves because they're afraid of being judged and ostracized. It's just like, but you can't be anyone else. You can only be yourself. So why are you functioning off of how everybody else in society is functioning? It's just like, it's not separating you. It's making you all one like robots.
Right.
So, it's just, it can be a little mind blowing, but once again, it's that self check, and it's just like, what it is, just, you have to let people be, we can have a discussion. It might be very minimal. I'm going to leave you where you are and I got to keep it moving.
Right.
So, and I hate to laugh at people when I have discussions sometimes, but it's just like when you see people get so angry at you for just having a basic conversation or just, you don't know the information I know. So now you want to call me stupid or I don't know what I'm talking about or I'm crazy or this, that, and the third. And it's just like, it's,
Yeah. It's really interesting because what I have found to be fascinating is that a lot of this is from highly intellectual people as well that aren't open to a dialogue. Like, intellectual stimulation is something that I crave, right? I don't like being the smartest person in the room. I want different opinions. I want different cultures. I want different ideologies, because how am I going to learn if I don't expose myself to something that may be, I may not agree with it, but I'm open to having that conversation because now I've learned something new, right? And it will give me the opportunity to then compare in my own time, with my thoughts as I process, to say, well, does any of this fit into my core beliefs of what, I know for myself to be true? Because maybe I need to be challenged on some things, right? And
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I would never say that I know everything or, claim to know everything, even though that's how a lot of, I don't want to say a lot. I'll just say how some people perceive me at times. And what they don't understand is that I'm only going to discuss and talk about what I know. If I don't know, I'm going to listen and I'm definitely going to ask questions. And then once I'm not around those individuals, I will do the research.
Yeah.
And I will, look into what it is that they were talking about. But I would never, first of all, I'm going to learn until the day I die.
Right.
If I'm not learning, I'm not growing. So it's just like, I just don't understand, But then I do. Once again, we all wake to our own alarm clock.
Mhm.
Well, see, that's that self-checking right there. I have to
Exactly.
remind myself when I say that I don't understand something, and it's like, yes, you do. You do. So you do. It's that reminder of, and a lot of times, depending on where I'm at the moment, I have to do a lot of that. You know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, for sure. I think people also, and I don't believe it's a conscious thing. I think subconsciously they get intimidated by a free thinker and a free spirit and someone that can have a different thought. It's within them. They're just afraid to tap into themselves
yes.
because they
Mhm.
don't want to be exposed. They don't want to be looked at as, oh, well, she's on that side. It's like, and I don't want to get into politics or anything, but like Democrats, Republicans, I mean, at the end of the day, we're just people, right?
Correct.
At the end of the day. Um,
In this 3D realm.
in this 3D, yes, thank you. Correct.
Mhm.
In the 3D realm. And, you
Correct.
know, even, like, and you have countless examples too, but like people will make assumptions. So this was years ago. And I think one time we were at a coffee shop and I think we had this conversation. It's been a long time. You may not remember it, but we had this team building activity at this, it was a sales meeting or something. And so we were supposed to tell two truths and one mistruth. So basically, two facts about yourself and one false thing about yourself, right? So
Mhm.
the three things, I think it was, I love bull riding, I have 5 children, and I love to cook, or one of those things. So guess which one that they just knew. Guess which one that they thought was true.
Okay, say them again.
So two truths, and so I love bull riding.
Okay.
I have 5 children, and I like to
Okay.
cook.
Okay. The
So
5 children.
yes.
Oh my.
So that opened up a dialogue. And I did it purposely because I was the only African American in there. And I don't care, that does not bother me, has never bothered me because I've always had a voice. And I mean, I always, before I, was uh, more enlightened and more mature, I'm like, you'll be more uncomfortable before I'll ever be uncomfortable. Right. However, I always tried to have things where it would open up those conversations to help them, to help everyone to be more open, that you watching too much TV because you just made an assumption based on,
Mhm.
you know, someone's skin color that had nothing to do with that, right? And
Correct.
so and then when I pulled out the PBR membership that I had, where I went to Las Vegas, for the Professional Bull Riding Association, they were like, "Oh my God, are you serious? Like, do you understand the sport? There's a lot of money in that sport." And so I started telling them about that, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that." So you didn't know, but you weren't open, but now you're kind of fascinated by it. And now, this was before like the phones were so prevalent, and a couple of them, they went. And then when down in Oklahoma, when different things come, they were taking their children there now because now they had an interest in rodeos and stuff, right? So you have to not just make these assumptions and not be afraid to ask questions just because you think that, somebody's going to get offended. And even if they do, how are we ever going to make a change if you don't break that cycle of communication and having these open dialogues and conversations in a peaceful way where I respect your opinion, you respect mine. We may not end up agreeing, but we've had a fantastic conversation and we both have now points to think about and to discuss.
And you know what? It's not so much that they're afraid to ask. The thing is that because of stereotypes, they think that it's factual. And
Yeah.
that is exactly what it is. And that, so they don't think about asking questions. They just be like, you know, whatever the situation that presents itself, they'd be like, oh, that's what it is, because
Yeah.
they are feeding into stereotypes.
Right.
So the thing is that when you don't think to ask questions to inform yourself, then you basically are, to me, you're a little bit closed-minded,
Mm-hmm.
because that's honestly, I mean, I know a lot of people feel very indifferent about this, but I do not believe in statistics. I mean, I just honestly, truly, I don't like statistics, and I don't
Need it.
believe in them, because they only go off a small percentage of things across the board. And people think that, it's just, this is just what's factual. It's just like, do you know how many people are in the world, and
Right.
that how many things that can't be documented and that aren't documented? So therefore, you have this handful or small percentage that you go off of, and people be like, want to present something to you in discussions, and talk about statistics. And to me, I almost pretty much shut down. And I hate to say that, but it's just like, if you're talking about statistics and you can't think beyond that, it's just like, what type of conversation are we having here?
Right.
It's because it's going to be very limited, because your
Right.
resources are limited, because you're going off of something that is not fully and totally factual.
Right. Right. And with that being said too, it's like I deliberately set them up because I like good conversations. I like to have good I don't want to call them debates, just good intellectual conversations, right? Your opinion, my opinion. Oh, I never even thought about it from that perspective. Okay, well, that's interesting. Well, I'll have to process that. So I'm going to put that on the board, right? But I already knew when I did it, I already knew which one was going to be chosen. So if that was the winning lottery ticket, we'd be in Boca Raton right now.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
the interesting thing is though, when we had the conversation and I told them I knew that you were going to pick that I had 5 children because of what you have been programmed to believe as an African American woman. Well, that has to be true, right? She's working, and so she probably, if not 1, 2, 3, but 5, doggone it, man. All right, she's got 5 kids, and I'm young, so that whole stereotypical thing of that must be true. And then the fact that I had to actually pull out my PBR VIP card and show them pictures,
Right.
actually pull up my Buck and Roll CDs. I've got every one from every single year. My 8-second CD, the fact that I had to show them proof for them to believe that is, and I told them, I said, don't you see the disconnect right there? And so you have someone here that's willing and open to have this conversation. Now is your opportunity, because if you would have did that to some in a different circumstance, you probably wouldn't have that freedom because it would have went a different way, because they're not open to have that conversation. Because back to what you were saying earlier, Angela, is it's going to trigger so many things that could have ended up into a real pissing match. You know what I mean? And then everybody
Because they haven't done the shadow work or gone into the dark night of the soul, so they haven't healed those wounds from however far back. And speaking of that, another thing is that what people have got to be mindful of is putting themselves in situations to where, when you haven't healed, no, I'll say this. So say that you're a healed individual, and you find yourself in a situation that is not healthy and beneficial for you. So it's almost like you're backtracking, and you be like, okay, and you might not always recognize it, when you're in it at the moment, but when you do, of course, you get out of it as quick as possible.
Right.
And then the key is also to heal that situation. Like if you feel like you were hurt in some way, the key is to recognize it, acknowledge it, forgive the individual and heal and move on as quick as possible. Because the more you sit and soak in it, because that could become a trigger to where you fall back into that place that you healed from, but you can go, what they say, into that sunken place.
Right.
So this is why it just takes constant practice, and I don't want to say constant practice because some of us can be centered, for a long time, or, because we are just, we see something that's not cool and we say, nope, push it aside, not going to deal with it, not going to let it come into my space or my aura to get me out of pocket or out of my element. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you just push it by. But again, that takes practice.
Right.
Everybody is not there at that level, but the more you practice it, you can get there and you will be there. But you have to want to be there.
Right.
But some people find comfort in chaos or, just because they, for however long it could be from when they were a child, up until adulthood, if it hasn't been dealt with, it has become comfortable. And it has become a familiar place, and then some people find that they may get more attention because, when they, let's say this, when they say trauma bonds, so you have people that you talk up to, and then it's just like when you find yourself talking about things that aren't healthy and beneficial, and it's just about troubles and things that you went through and what so and so said, this and that and the third. It's just like when you find yourself having conversations like that with certain people, it's just like you have to recognize that, because your relationship with that individual is based on your trauma. And that's what you all share. Because if you are healed and the other person isn't, and you're talking about, what you want to achieve in life, this, that, and the third, and if they're not there, then it's almost like, I hate to say this, it's almost like when you have a crackhead and a non-crackhead. Like those two people can't be together. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just like a person who's an alcoholic and a non-alcoholic cannot be together. Because the non-alcoholic person is going to say, don't you think you need to slow down? And then it's going to trigger something,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I know that when you are doing the work, and as you're growing and you're evolving, if you're honoring yourself at the highest level, you're going to be conscious of that. You're going to be mindful of your surroundings. You're going to be mindful of the people. And it's, as you said, it's like, oh no, that's not for my greater good. So thank you for showing up, but I'm moving on because this is the path that I'm on now. And once you continue to do that, it becomes very easy. And then it really that kind of stuff, you don't even attract it to you anymore, or it's much less frequent, because that's not even where you're vibing, right? At all.
Yeah, that is correct.
And it's a beautiful.
Yeah, so you basically, and when you are there, you are setting healthy boundaries for yourself. And then once you're vibrating high, you basically are a repellent for the BS. So people won't even approach you.
Right.
But you have some that'll try you, that they'll try it.
Yeah.
And then but you know how to handle it.
And sometimes Source will just test us too, just to see, let me just check in to see if they're still on the path of enlightenment, and their mission is still, they're still true to them, what their soul's purpose is, and
Patricia,
the commitment that they made to themselves. Right? Right?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's then recognized, like literally sometimes I've had it happen, even recently. It's like, ha ha ha, okay, I'm gonna have to laugh at you right now. I respect you, Source, but really, do you really? I already know this is a test. No, thank you. I'm good. Full speed ahead. Let's go. Anything else? Now you wanna
Indeed.
just give me my 5 stars, because ring that bell, because I just got a trophy, baby. I just got a trophy.
Yeah,
Just saying.
that's right.
I won.
Yeah.
I won.
And that's what keeps you on your toes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
It consciously keeps you on your path in your journey in life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because once you have experienced peace, you're not trying to go back to where you came from.
Heck,
you're just
no.
not.
Yeah. Say that again, because it's not.
Yes.
You don't even, it's so ingrained in you that it's like breathing. It's not even an option open for discussion. It's a non-negotiable. Good luck, Chuck. Thank you. No, thank you. Nice knowing you. Not happening.
Yep.
At all. Ever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the only time it would is because medically you had some type of dementia or something, and but even if that, it's staying in that consciousness, seriously. But the likelihood of that, I believe, this is my opinion, is limited, because if you're staying in that consciousness of that enlightenment of being connected, those types of things, you're always communicating with yourself, and then being open to other people, their energy. So who's got time for dementia when you're having these intellectual conversations that are literally out of this world? You know what I mean? You just get so, have you been in those conversations where it's just so deep? It's like, am I even here on planet Earth right now? Because this is what I've always wanted. I love these types of conversations. And my takeaway, I'm going to have some good journaling today,
Yeah. Absolutely. And what's funny is because earlier this morning when we talked, and I didn't tell you this. So before I got on live with you like this, but we were just talking, I saw the synchronicity number of 909.
Really?
And basically, yes, because I'm into synchronicity. So when I looked it up, it was basically saying about your friendship circles. And
really?
Patricia, it has been years since we have talked, because I was always coming to your house. Like we were always hanging out, going out for coffee to eat, whatever. I would like spend the night at your house. And this is when you had Cam.
Right? Yes.
So it's just like, when I saw that, I was just like, wow. So maybe the universe is bringing me back to people and connecting me back with people that, that I've lost contact with, that are healthy and beneficial for me. And just, your vibe is your tribe.
Right. Right. And that's the key. That's the key. That's the key.
But even when we were hanging out, like we have always had awesome conversations.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
First of all, don't you remember when we used to talk on the phone and we would talk so much you would fall asleep on me?
I would faintly hear Patricia. Oh, damn, she fell asleep on me again. And it wasn't, the thing is that, but it's a good thing too, because the conversations were so interesting that it just put me in a meditative state of mind too. Looking back, I mean, I'm not making excuses for falling asleep on you, but we would talk into the wee hours. I'm serious. We were talking to the wee
Yeah.
hours of the morning, right? For hours. And now that you say that, I'm like, I think that maybe part of that was that I was going into that trance like state of consciousness where, you know, it's like subconsciously I have to process that. So I had to check out. Just fell asleep on you.
Or maybe you was just tired.
I could have I could have been tired, but I like that transformative state of consciousness that you just put me out because
Okay.
the stimulation was, you know, from where I'm at now in life. I like having that perspective too. But there were some nights I probably was tired.
So let me tell you this. So I would say almost every place that I have had, the way I decorate it when people come to my house, it's so serene and so calm that
Mhm.
people will feel so relaxed. And a lot of times, like I have people that will just fall asleep, do
Mhm.
whatever because it's so
Yeah.
comfortable. And
Yeah.
sometimes where people come from, like in their own environment, it's not peaceful, you know.
Mhm.
So um it took me a minute to understand that, and then I actually enjoyed it and started liking it. I was just
Mhm.
like, if my home can be a place to where you have a peace of mind, to where you
Right.
can just just wholeheartedly and truly relax.
Mhm.
I'm cool with that. If you need to come over here and just go to sleep, I'm fine
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, speaking of that, like I've always my home has been my sanctuary. And if you got some jacked up energy, you're not coming anywhere near it. Ain't enough sage in the world is going to keep you and get you in my house, you know. And um, I think, you know, honoring that's part of loving yourself too, where you just don't let anything just because they knock on your door that doesn't mean you have to let them in. I can remember before, you know, and this was as I was, you know, learning who I was. I just knew I didn't want to be around drama. I just knew I wanted peace in my life. My whole world and desire and pursuit has been peace. And I've had people come to my door, knock, and I'm sitting right there. The curtains are open. And I would just turn the remote control up at that time so that they knew I was in there. But it's like you can't come in because your energy is just not right. You're not in a good place. I'm not in a good place
Yeah.
to be able to handle your where you're at right now. For me to be left to have to deal with it without being able to deal with it. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, looking back too at those steps, that's all was all part of loving yourself or loving ourselves, right? And now I recognize that, and being able to be free and look back at, like, I didn't really do that bad. I actually was on a pretty good path considering I was self exploring and didn't have a whole lot of, you know, everybody doesn't want to have these types of conversations.
Mhm.
They just don't. So, yeah, I think that is, you know, Cam, speaking of him, I miss that little guy. You know, he was a spiritual
I'm
dog.
sure you do. Hmm.
That dog was a very spiritual dog. And he could detect energy. And if he didn't, I remember one time that I was supposed to go out on a date, right? And this
Hmm.
dude, you know, he came to pick me up, and Cam went just crazy. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't go. And I remember he said, "So you mean to tell me you're going to let a dog dictate where you go?" I'm like, dude, I trust that dog more than I trust you. I don't know anything about you. So I said, I'm really sorry, but I can't go. And I'm like, sorry. And he just kept standing on, I have to shut the doors and nothing else to talk about. You know what I mean? It's like, goodbye. But, you know, you have to recognize those things too. That's animals are sensitive as well. And those are also signs that you have to pay attention to. Well, even if maybe it was a neighbor that had wisdom to say, honey, you know, I'm not really getting a good feeling. You don't have to do anything that I say or take heed to that. But if you respect that person,
Mhm.
that's something that you probably should pay attention to, because that's those little signs. Those are those roadblocks. We get red flags all the time, but we're so busy keeping and being, involved in this and this and just distracted, that we miss how many road signs that have red flag, red flag, red flag, and then you're at a crisis, and it's like, you didn't have to fall off that cliff, because 5 miles back we warned you and you just kept going, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I've noticed is that horses are so sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like they like sense so much in a human being. Like they are so sensitive to where that's why some horses huck and buck when certain people are around them, because it's just
Mm-hmm.
like they feel you. And
Yeah.
they like, no, I don't want this individual on me, you know?
Right.
And then
Right.
people feel like, oh, they never acted this way or whatever. It's just like, don't you know about spirituality and spirit and why your animal might be acting the way they are? It's just like you have
Yeah.
to know about these things.
Yeah. It's energy. It's energy. Yeah.
Everything. Everything is energy, vibration, and frequency.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
this is a this is and the thing is that I'm gonna just say this. Me being here, I want to live for as long as I can while I'm here. But honestly, Patricia, I do not want to return to this place. Like, I want this to be my last go around, my last rodeo. I don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
reincarnated to come back here as whoever or whatever. I want to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy this life right here, right now, to the best of my ability. And I want this to be it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I've had enough. you know, I've had enough, you know. So, it just is what it is. But I understand the 3D realm, the 5D, there's of course other levels, but it's just like once you can connect your earthly self to your spiritual self and align those two,
Mm-hmm.
then you can maneuver through this world in your human flesh, very well. But the thing is that a lot of people don't understand about manifesting.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is that once you learn about manifesting energies, vibration, and frequencies and how that works, it's just like you can draw things to you. Your mind is connected to whatever it is that you want to. So let me just say this. Everything that we see that exists started out with a thought.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that if you think something, like in the Bible, it says thoughts are things that you think into existence. Like that is real, that is reality. But a lot of people don't understand how to tap in. Of course, it's not easy, have to
Mm-hmm.
practice. But the
Right.
thing is that if you know that you learned that in church and it's in the Bible, isn't that something that you might want to tap into if you want to live your life a certain way? You can't wait on a source that you think is God to, just kind of hand it to you or whatever. It's just like we are the magicians of our life.
Mm.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't get. You control how you want to live, what flows to you, because you got to be open. If you're not
Right.
open, nothing is going to flow to you because you're blocked off.
Right.
Because you are so bent on beliefs, which is something that blocks. It's just like you have to be open. Just like
Yeah.
any information out here, it's just like information changes. It doesn't stay the same. The children's book, Good Night Moon.
No,
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I don't
I
remember
think
it.
I think I think that's what it's called. And it's just like everything changes, nothing stays the same. So even the information that we have or have acquired or that's out here now, it's just like everything is changing.
Yeah.
Because what we did as kids, we're not doing as adults.
Right.
So it's just like as you grow, evolve, and change, you have to move different. You have to come into different types of energy. And the more that you grow, evolve, and change, it's almost like reintroducing yourself to yourself because you're not the same person anymore.
Because you're not the same person.
So therefore, other people don't know you either.
Right. Right. And that's where you have to be connected, where you really get to know yourself. You find out who you are and you literally court yourself and have a relationship with yourself. Ask yourself questions, right? And
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes people don't realize that it's as simple as having a relationship with yourself, literally.
Well, that's the most important thing.
Is to have a relationship with yourself. Just the simplicity of just have a relationship with yourself. Forget you have to get to the point, and I say this cautiously because it's not that you're forgetting your family. I mean, you have a daughter. It's not like you're going to forget your daughter, but at some point you have to become so selfish that you have to put yourself first so that you can be at your optimum for your daughter, for your spouse, for your partner, for your friendships. I mean, I've never forgotten about you, even though the time has passed, and you've commented or, sent or like different things I've seen over the years. But, there's also a process where I was on a path where I was evolving, right? You were on a path where you're evolving, and now it's come full circle where we both now we're at a different place in life where it's like that lotus flower. I love the story of the lotus flower, and underneath people don't realize the mud that's down there, but they see this beautiful glistening lotus flower, right? But there's a lot of work underneath there that has transpired in order for that lotus flower to blossom.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to lose contact with people in order to work on yourself. And like you said, it's full circle and it comes back around. See this right here?
I see. Yes, I see.
Okay. Hold on. This is real time, and I am getting dark because I was using the natural sunlight, so I need to just turn on my light. Okay.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
And then there was light. So yeah, this is real time. Light. Yeah. Uh-oh. So yes. Okay.
Yeah, we are light. Are you familiar with Lizzie Jeff? Have you heard any of her music?
No.
Lizzie Jeff. I recommend that you check her out because she's really has some amazing tunes. It's not for everyone because the truth that you may get triggered with her some of her music, but it's beautiful music. I mean, and she's a goddess. The Urban Love Goddess, I think, will appreciate Lizzie Jeff. In fact, the one let me hold on just a second. You can continue to talk. I want to see the one. Let's see, which one was it? Look up the Goddess Code.
Goddess Code, okay.
With Lizzie Jeff, yeah. You'll and then text me and let me know what your thoughts are.
I will, most definitely.
Yeah. You will. I believe you will appreciate that. But she's an artist and she's went through a major transformation. So her story is
Okay.
pretty great. Is remarkable too. I like her story too. But she's just fun. She's got that good energy, you know, and she is full 100%. This is who I am. This is what I have become. I have went through basically hell and back, but I'm here. I'm not going back. You can't get me to turn back if you offered me all the money in the world, because you can't put a price on that piece. Right. And
For
it's just
sure.
contagious, right? It's her work is really magnificent. It really is. And I'm really excited, Angie, because you nor I really had a lot of people that we have come into our space where we connect with. So I just want you to know that I have always admired you and have always respected your truth, because that's what I know about you is the truth. And you are a free
That
spirit. You
that's
speak your mind.
that's all I can give.
But as a
So
from a
even if I was going through something that wasn't cool and kosher, like I was going through hurt and pain, a breakup, or just being with somebody,
Mhm.
what I've been
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
despite that, I never
Mhm.
let it break me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
It's just
do.
like I might have to talk about it and vent about it in order, because that for some people is healing, the healing process. But when I was around people, I never wanted to make them feel like you had to be sad because of what
Right.
I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? Because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, even though I'm venting, it's just like, but I'm good. Because me
Mhm.
venting is just me recognizing what's going on. And I'm telling you, this mess ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and then sometimes it just takes you a minute to get out of certain situations. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's just
Right.
like you have to sometimes coach and talk to yourself, or not. Yeah,
Mhm.
talk to yourself and others. You know,
Mhm.
but then once you have experienced certain things, and like we're talking about, once you've healed
Mhm.
and you're in a different space and place, it's just like you're not gonna allow yourself to go through that, any of the
No.
stuff. So the thing is to learn the lesson and to not repeat it over and over again. Because if you're repeating it, you haven't learned the lesson.
And it
And
will
then the
continue to
universe,
repeat itself in different forms, different people, over and over and over again. It's like, listen, aren't you tired of this? Listen, I have a doctorate degree. I'm not taking not one more class in this particular lesson. So let's move on to the next lesson because I'm tired of being in this class. Right?
all day. But if you don't recognize it, then it's just like a dog chasing its tail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's just like a lot of people don't acknowledge the lesson, and
Mhm.
they have a tendency to repeat it,
Mhm.
what the universe is trying to give to them. That's just like when you say, when they try to test you, you know, yeah, they'll send you some little raggedy man, that's not healthy and beneficial for you. And
I knew
then
you were
you'll
going
be
to use that
like,
example.
okay, you'll be like, no. But the thing is that I'm gonna just put this out there. I have been single for years, but I'm gonna tell you this. I have made it a point to not in the lighter. I'm on live. I'm talking to my daughter. I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Nicole.
So, like no, like that is like self torment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you allow yourself to just go through stuff over and over. But I do understand that everybody does not recognize when things are a lesson because they haven't healed those wounds. And I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and because they, a lot of times too, they don't have good healthy friends around them. And then you have to deal with jealousy from friends. I mean, it's just ridiculous, petty, ignorant immature things, right? And so
Mhm.
then you bring that layer into the mix. Well, that's now triggered you because somebody else did that to you. So now it's not even about a relationship here, because now we've added another layer of nonsense. And you just want to, you want that support. And then you get into where it's such a dysfunction of codependency that
Yes.
it is just like, ooh, like even I don't even want to, like that made me my body constrict just thought of that, you know. But it's true that codependency, and then it's like, oh well, I just really need a friend. Well, something is better than nothing. No, it's not. I'd rather be alone by myself with my thoughts and with my peace and my mind, and to the best of my ability, have faith that the Almighty is going to bring who I need. But, you know, when you're in that desperate state, or you're in that where things are so dark, I mean, that's your truth for that moment.
Yes. 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 And codependency is so real. Like,
Mhm.
oh my goodness. Like that is that is some strong energy. You know what I'm
Very.
saying?
Yes, I do.
Codependency is like so potent. Like it really saddens me. It really hurts my
Mhm.
soul. You know, and I feel for people, you know, because
Yeah.
even like children, you know, so say for instance, codependency is like on so many different levels. You
Mhm.
know, and some people are so codependent that they don't even realize that they're codependent. People are codependent to, you know, wanting someone to need them. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
I
You know,
do.
to rely on, you know, just it's just so many different forms that I don't think that people are aware of or even understand what codependency is.
Yeah, and they're energy I call them energy vampires, because the codependency is mimicked as love. I love you, and I want you. You need to embellish me and tell me how good I am,
Gaslighting.
and that gaslighting, right? And at the end of the day, it's like, no, they see your magnificence and they just don't, they're afraid because they don't want to be alone because they're going through their own thing. And if you get better and then leave me, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
So
And
they have
then
to
it's not even,
suppress you and keep you
yes,
down.
yes. And then
Yeah.
it's not even about your well-being as a friendship. I want what's best for you. But now, because of that codependency, you're afraid of that loss, instead of, you
Huh?
know, maybe like, okay, well, I'm feeling this way. Here's a good dialogue. Hey, Angela, I'm feeling this way. And I'll just be honest with you. I'm just feeling a little scared right now because I have had this happen to me, this happened to me, and I've never had anybody to support me. I hope it's that vulnerability with that friendship, right? And so I don't know how you feel about this, but will you support me? And then you have the ability to say, well, I'm not even healthy myself. Well, maybe we both need to seek seek something
Yes.
together and cross that bridge together, and then see what shakes out. But then you're addressing that codependency where it's not being marked as this in the name of love, because that's not love. It's dysfunction at the highest level, and no good will come from it. Somebody's going to burn.
None. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God, we have touched on so many great things.
Yes.
And the thing is that we can have this conversation because the thing is that this, so this is what I told my daughter. It's just like, so say for instance, for example, like me personally as an individual, no matter what I might have gone through in my life, I never have been the individual to project my hurt and pain onto other people.
Mhm.
When I'm in people's presence, I want, and I don't do this like it doesn't take work for me. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing
Yeah.
is that when I'm around other people, back then I didn't think about my hurt and pain. It was just like, oh, I'm around good people,
Yeah.
I'm going to have fun, do this and that and the third. I never brought people into my misery.
Right.
Even though, like with you, somebody very close to me and other people, like I will talk about certain things, but for the most part, we had fun,
Yeah. But even I'm going to address that. But even when you did share some of the things and tough things, it was because I feel, you can tell me if I'm off base, because you
Okay.
also knew that we had that relationship where I would understand and we could have those types of conversations and still go out and like, girl, let's go to the park, or girl, let's go down to Soulard, or girl, let's go get this. Let's go cut some flowers. Patricia, have you ever thought about, I'm like, where did that come from out of just random? Oh, it was just a random thought. Yeah. Those are the conversations that we've had. So it's also being able to be with the right people that, because I wasn't in the best place, that myself, at the time, but I feel that, having exposure to you as my friend was also part of the universe saying that this is something, pay attention, because this is something that is out there that you have the ability to access if you're open to it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a sign, right? And so being able to tap into I'm going to be honest with you and tell you what's going on in my life, and it's not pretty. Secondly, though, once we're done, we're just going to, put that aside and go out and live our life.
Yes. Yes. So I'm going to tell you something that I learned from an old friend of mine. She brought to my attention that somebody brought to her attention, I do believe, that so say for instance, she was just like, someone made aware to her that if you wanted to vent to a friend to say, I'm going through something, do I have permission to talk to you about this? Because it's just like, you don't just want to call and bombard someone with your stuff, and just dump it on them, and then you make them feel a certain type of way. And it's just like, I really respect that. And it's just like, that is something, honestly, that I'm still learning. Even though I don't have anything going on in my life, that's like that. But if I do, and if I did, that I want to be mindful enough to the individual that I talk to say, you know what? I would like to talk to you, and I need to talk to you if you don't mind. Can you give me permission, to vent to you, or, talk to you about this? You have the opportunity to say yes or no.
Right.
And whatever it is, if it's no, you have to respect it.
Yeah, you have to respect it. And and you already know that we've had people over the years that as soon as that phone rings, as soon as just like, no, I can just, hey, listen, here's the newest update to the last story. Let me add a couple. Did I get it correct? Okay, there's nothing really to talk about. Thank you. Because it's the same thing. It's that repetitive pattern. They're not trying to get out of that pattern. They're not calling to say, hey, do you have a book that I can read? Or, hey, let's go walk in nature. Or, hey, do you have any other tool? Like earlier today when we were the earlier live that we did, Pamela, she's an EFT practitioner. Okay, well, something that's as non-invasive as tapping, a person like that, you could recommend that to them. I'm not tapping because they want to tap into your energy. Well, I'm going to tap so that I'm not, because attracting this type of energy to me is frequent, right? So
you're right.
It's that type of mindfulness as well, those people, but then you also know the people that are that are sincere, and they really do, and they're reaching out because now they're on their path of enlightenment, of wanting to tap into who am I? and come into their power, because that ultimately is the ultimate freedom, is tapping into your power, coming into your power, and then just being free, 100% free.
Correct.
And it's a beautiful thing. It's really good.
All day. Yeah.
All day. Well, you know, we've been on here over an hour, right?
Yeah.
It's always good conversation with you, Angela. I'm Urban Love Goddess.
It's been great, and I appreciate it. You know,
you have a lot of wisdom, Angela. You always have. So don't forget your greatness, and you need to tap into what you know you need to do, and just do it. And if you need help or support, reach out for that, and just do it. I'm challenging you to do it.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to do it, because we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
For sure. We did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so tell me, give me some final thoughts, some good wisdom from the Urban Love Goddess on this Saturday evening at 8:43. What would you like everybody to know? Some tidbit, don't care, whatever, speaking to you.
Just tap in to your energy as much as you can within yourself. Go within, look at yourself, check yourself, vibrate on the highest frequency as possible. And, you know, if you need help, reach out, buy a book, buy books, you know, and just self-love is the best love. You know, without self-love, you have nothing.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. If you can't pour into yourself, you're no good for anyone else.
Right. Your camera just shifted. So I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, I don't know if the phone, it's sideways. I don't know if the phone happened. So we'll wait a little bit here to make sure everything's okay there. Okay, looks like her phone disconnected. So, you know, the main theme is, you know, is loving yourself and at the highest level. And yeah, it's really good conversation, and really excited about what's in store. So I hope you guys have a great evening, and I will talk to you later. Happy Saturday. Hope you had a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.